One seat here. Are there any more?
No, can you come this way? Make sure it's got a tyre. Let's see if you come this way. That's lovely, thank you. Yeah. So you can sit there, just hang on this and get out.
Yeah, that's true.
Energetic.
I think we can start. Right, sound yeah. Right, good evening, ladies and gents. I'm not entirely sure I've ever seen this chamber quite so jam-packed. So, thank you for engaging with the town, and I look forward to hearing all of your remarks very shortly. However, just a few housekeeping bits and pieces. We are recording this session live, but it will just be your audio, so your pretty faces aren't presently being broadcast. My slightly less than pretty face is. But feel free, in a short moment, I will open up the floor to address all your questions, guys. But for now, a very brief speech, if I may. So when one first takes office, one imagines a year of engagements, meetings and ceremonies, but what you cannot fully appreciate until living it is the immense pride that comes from representing such a remarkable town and a community such as yourselves. From my first engagement, opening the May dance at Catmas Primary School, to the most recent outing representing Oakham at Buckingham Palace, it's been an absolute honour and a privilege throughout this year. This year has been filled with countless memorable occasions and, above all, opportunities to meet with extraordinary people who make Oakham such a special place to live. One of the most profound aspects of the mayoral year has been attending so many military and commemorative events throughout the county and beyond. These occasions remind us not only of the sacrifice made by previous generations, but also of the continuing importance of remembrance of service and duty in modern life. This year's remembrance commemorations were particularly poignant. Standing together as a community in silent reflection is always moving, but during this 80th anniversary year of VE Day, there are even deeper sense of gratitude and reflection. We were reminded that peace and freedom were very hard won, and that the debt that we owe those who served can never truly be repaid. Among the most moving moments of the year for me personally was laying of the white orchids at Roxby Rail on one of the original steam locomotives, Singapore, deployed to the Far East during World War II, in remembrance of the soldiers of the Forgotten Army. Their courage, endurance and sacrifice too often overlooked in the wider narrative of the Second World War, and it was an honour to pay tribute to them on behalf of the community. Merchant Navy Day also provided an important opportunity to recognise those who served and continue to serve at sea, often in dangerous and demanding circumstances, sustaining our nation through conflict and peacetime alike. Another unforgettable occasion was attending the beating of the retreat at Rockingham Castle, accompanied both by the Royal Anglican Corps of Drums and the band of the Brigade of Gurkhas. The spectacle, discipline and tradition on display made for a truly stirring evening and served as a reminder of the enduring ceremonial heritage of our armed forces. But it wasn't all military matters. Equally fascinating was attending the biennial justice ceremony at Oakham Castle and witnessing a criminal trial being undertaken within the historic grounds, a ceremony that has continued uninterrupted every 2 years since 1229. It was a powerful reminder of the continuity of justice and civic life in Rutland across many centuries, and of the remarkable heritage that we are fortunate to be part of. Of course, civic life is not all about ceremony and remembrance. It's also about community, enjoyment, and bringing people together. The summer band concerts in Cuts Close Park were once again a tremendous success. Week after week, residents and visitors gathered to enjoy wonderful performances in a relaxed, welcoming, and largely dry setting. It has been heartening to see so many people enjoying these events together, and I would like to thank everyone involved in organising and supporting them. I would also like to recognise the tremendous efforts of the UK Town of Culture bid team, who have done such outstanding work on the very tightest of deadlines in championing Oakham and Rutland. They've truly been banging the drum from our community, showing the creativity, heritage and spirit that makes this area unique. Regardless of the outcomes, the work has already brought enormous energy and positivity to the town. There has also been significant and important work undertaken to explore the future of Victoria Hall. Many people throughout the community will appreciate the importance of the building, not only historically, but as a focal point at the heart of the town. I'm encouraged by the progress made towards saving and revitalising the hall to date, aiming for a renewed beating heart of the community. And I very much hope we will see the plans move forward during 26 and 27. Similarly exciting, the project to bring the ichthyosaur and Roman mosaic to the Rutland County Museum, along with the wider developments and technological advancements towards the building. This is a hugely important cultural opportunity for the county, and one which I know will inspire residents and visitors alike for generations. But no mayor serves alone, and I've been fortunate enough to receive kindness, support and friendship from so many people throughout this year. My thanks go out to the staff of OTC for their unwavering support, organisation and diligence even through trying times, and also to my fellow OTC councillors who generously sacrificed their free time for the betterment of the town. My sincere thanks go out to Dr. Sarah Finesse for her considerate, warm-hearted support and encouragement at so many civic occasions. The work she does for Oakham and the wider Rutland community is staggering, and it has been a pleasure to share a space with someone so passionate for our small piece of England. I'd also like to thank the outgoing High Sheriff Richard Chesterfield for his friendship, good humour and service over the past year, and to offer my very best wishes to the incoming High Sheriff, Mrs. Susanna Fish, ably assisted by the ever-excellent Under Sheriff Peter Lawson. I'd also like to thank Councillor David Ainsley of Uppingham Town Council and Andrew Brown from RCC for their companionship, consistently good-humoured conversation at the many civic events that we have attended together throughout the year. Public life is made infinitely easier and considerably more enjoyable by the company that we keep. And finally, I'd like to thank all of you, the residents of Oakham. Serving as your mayor has been an immense honour, and one that I will always cherish. It has been a wonderful reminder in all my engagements this year that Oakham may be very small in size, but it's immense in character, history and heart, and embodies the true county motto, Multum in Parvo. Thank you very much. So, at the end of that meandering speech, everyone, I'll move on to item number 2, the confirmation of the minutes of the town meeting held on Wednesday, 13th May 2025, a year ago. Would anybody care to raise anything? Oh, Mr. Brooks, go ahead.
You wanted a proposal?
Oh, very good. Do I have a
was
second?
here. You have to have been here to propose a second.
Do I have a seconder anywhere? Oh, thank you very much. So that's Mr. Martin Brooks and Sally Ann Wadsworth. Okay. So a vote for those of us that might have been here. Those in favour. There we are. That's carried. Very well. On to what you're all here for then. Item number 3, to consider issues raised by those attending relating to the town of Oakham. Fire away, team. Who's first?
Mr. Chairman, I hope you enjoyed your hearing office. It's obviously been a very demanding one for you.
Thank you.
I'm Adrian Wilkinson. I'm the chairman of Oakham Bowling Club, and I'm here to represent the views of the members of our club. This follows the meeting of the Oakham Town Council on the 29th of April, but it was agreed that a feasibility and a redevelopment strategy for Oakham sports facilities. May I say, please, from the outset, that we as a club were very disappointed that we were not given advance notice of the council's intention to change the landscape of the council at the Vale in Oakham. Given that we've held the lease for many years, one might have thought out of courtesy that the club would have been informed of the council's intentions. Mr. Chairman and fellow councillors, it might be useful for your consideration to understand the very proud history of our club. The club was formed in 1910, which is 116 years on. It's the most friendly club, and we have a membership of over 100 members. We have open days every year, and this coming Saturday, we offer a facility game which has been well advertised amongst the town. We always recruit new members on that day. We encourage all genders and age groups alike, although the majority of our members are of the older generation of the town. It is beneficial for both physical and mental health, friendship, and combats loneliness. The summer season is extremely busy, with fixtures involving teams from Leicester, Shire, and Rutland. Throughout the year, we are visited by many hundreds of bowlers and friends from the counties of Rutland, Leicestershire, Lincolnshire, and beyond. In previous years, fixtures have been arranged with touring sides from within the UK, including prestigious matches against Bowls England, other counties such as Buckinghamshire, Leicestershire, Devon, and Norfolk, and also a visit from the Scottish touring team. These matches are based on the reputation of our club. Next year, we have arranged with a team from Disability Bowls England, and are greatly looking forward to their visit. We have adapted our bowling green to establish disabled people to participate in our sport, and we are very proud to have a member who is a Disability Bowls England international player, and he is a very active player within our club. Some of our matches are also arranged specifically to raise funds for various locations within charities within the area. EMIX, Air Ambulance, and Heart Foundation, for which we have attained a highly favourable reputation. Other social events are held throughout the year for members, family, and friends. On the points highlighted, you can see how much this benefits the local community and especially the town of Oakham. The clubhouse is maintained to a very high standard by our own members. In recent times, we have laid a new floor, installed a new boiler, and fitted new blinds. These improvements have cost in the region of £20,000 and all paid for by our club at no cost to the council. A recent survey conducted by the council in 2025 confirmed that the club is well maintained and the council were impressed by the findings. We maintain the green to a high standard covering all costs in the region of £8,000 per annum. Last year, we purchased new machinery in excess of £10,000. The location of the green and its facilities are admired by all who visit the club and are the envy of many teams. We remain an independent club and are totally committed to doing so. We ask what considerations were given to such an important matter. May I say, following a publication by the local Democracy Reporter last Friday, that this proposed project appears to be driven by just 2 members of your councillors, one of whom acted as a deputy chairman when the decision was made. Further, and not surprisingly, he had the casting vote when the town council were undecided in their decision. It really begs the question, is it really right that a minority of councillors can determine what is best for the people of Oakham? It is noted that at the extraordinary meeting, 2 councillors voted in favour of the item under consideration, 2 abstained and 1 voted against. May we respectfully appeal to those councillors who abstained to seriously consider their future options on such an important matter and register any future vote for the benefit of the townspeople of Oakham. Further questions do require answers. Has a feasibility study gone out to tender? Do you agree that we have an agreement from the Town Council meeting held on the 13th of February 2019 to extend our lease to 2038? This letter was signed by Alison Greaves, the Town Clerk, dated 28th of May 2019. Also, may we please have a copy of the land deeds for the land we occupy? Another consideration way back in 2005 was that the land was potentially a floodplain and therefore unsuitable for housing. If the council remove us from the ground, are they going to relocate us and provide first-class facilities that we now have? We want to remain an independent club and one that is always available for members of the public to bowl as they so wish. I appreciate, Mr. Chairman, that you may not be in possession of all the answers tonight. I'm more than happy to await your response. But we also note this decision was taken in your absence and that full council members were not present. We warmly extend an invitation to any town council member to witness firsthand and the benefits extended to the local community. In conclusion, may I end on a personal note. I was a former playing member of Oakham Cricket Club for over 12 years and a founder playing member of Oakham United Football Club in the early 60s. I joined Oakham Bowling Club 5 years ago and found them to be a very well-run club, a very well-organised club. They are most welcoming, supportive, and I can honestly say, all my sporting experience, which is quite considerable, that Oakham Bowling Club has proved to be one of the best. We recommend strongly to the Oakham Town Council that you seriously reconsider the implications of your proposals and you abandon such actions. We would be grateful for an early response. I thank you very much for your time and I have a full copy of this report for your information.
Thank you very much, sir, for your deputation. It seems that, yes, your assertions are correct. I certainly wasn't at the meeting, and we will very much take your points on board. Do you have the gentleman's name, sorry?
So the Bowls Club are going to send me that presentation.
Adrian Wilkinson.
Thank you.
Yes, and I will have that in minutes, the full document, yeah.
So we'll certainly, I think, consider your deputation there, clearly heartfelt and well supported in the room there, and come back to you at our earliest possibility, if that's all right.
I'm most faithful. And there's a copy of this.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you very much.
And I think certainly a bit of conversation and collaboration on moving forward might well be in order.
Thank you very much.
There was a hand at the back there.
Sorry, yeah, so it's Councillor Ainsley,
Go ahead, sir.
deputy at that meeting. So I just wanted to thank you very much indeed, Chair. Thank you very much for that most informative discussion, and I certainly do value the Bowls Club. As the author of the feasibility study, it was extremely disappointing to discover that the feasibility study, which is exactly what it says, let's see what we can do. We have a situation where we have potential of a significant repair bill because of the age of the buildings in which both the tennis club and the Bowls Club occupy. So all that was supposed to happen was that we went to get expert viewpoints about what we could do, £150,000 potentially of repairs to the buildings, and there was nothing more than that. I'm sorry, this has actually come from the surveys that we conducted earlier in the year, so I'm not making these figures up. So really what I'm trying to say is there's an awful lot of conjecture about what we intend to do. There is no intention. This is simply a feasibility study, nothing more, nothing less. And there has been miscommunication about the intent of the council. And I just want to put that record straight, which is why I'm on my hind legs now.
So could I ask?
Yes, please.
So if there's no intention, why am I paying to put towards this feasibility with no intention? I mean, it
No.
seems ridiculous, in my opinion. If there's no intention, then there's no need for a feasibility study. So,
I can answer that question. Simply, the reports that we got in, I think we actually received them about September last year from the survey reports, indicated that in order to bring the facilities up to today's standards, and for some of the buildings, the Bowls Club, as it happens, was, as correctly stated, was met with glowing report from the surveyor who did the initial study. But there is a potential for a significant amount of money to be spent on the upkeep of those old buildings. So what do we do? Do we refurbish those buildings? Do we build new buildings?
definitely, 100%.
Well, yeah, yes. Well, I'm not empowered. I don't have the information. I have a simple, very simple way of looking at things. What I do is I use something I used to use when I was in the Air Force, which is great, which is gather, review, assess, decide, evaluate. We're only gather.
Yeah.
We're gathering information, putting it together. That information will come back to council. It will be in the public domain, and then we will then have a consultation and a vote.
So I work in the medical industry. The only reason that you do a feasibility study is to see whether you can get it through, in my opinion. That's what I work for. Feasibility studies are there to push through what you aim to do with it. So that would be my first thing. My other thing that I take from the medical industry, and I don't want to say that all elderly people play bowls, but a lot of my clients play with the bowls company, the bowls team. And I think it's atrocious that a council would even consider taking that fitness level, social aspect away from that ageing population. I think it's disgraceful.
I fully support exactly what you're saying. There's no intention. Sorry, this is very, it's what do we do now, study? That's what it is.
Sorry, ladies and gents, sorry, I'm just going to interject here because we need to keep a little bit of order. I'm going to ask for hands to be held up. I'll introduce, obviously, I'll point to you, ask for you for your deputation. If you could kindly state loudly and clearly for the deputy clerk here, sorry, the assistant clerk, if your name, please, when you stand up. So I think you, sir, had your hand up first, if you care.
Thank you.
I'm Justin Perry. I'm declaring interest because I live on the other side of the Golf Club, so I will be heavily affected if the Golf Club is no longer there and I've got a housing estate instead. In response to what you said you're the author of the feasibility study. I thought that only agreed last month to.
No, I crafted it. No, let's not say crafted. Let's say I pulled it together and pulled the facts together to actually undertake what can we do about the situation where
So you're the author of the proposal to have a feasibility study?
Yes.
Correct? Right.
And the feasibility study, actually. Yes, the author of the proposal to have a feasibility study. Yes, you're quite right.
Because if you're the author of the feasibility study, then
I'm
that's
not
a bit
the
like a
author of
threat
the
on
study.
both.
Let's go back.
But I don't understand how we go from this, and obviously I don't know the history of this because I've only become interested since it's from literally in my backyard. How do you go from conducting a feasibility or an analysis of what to do with some existing buildings, which is I understand the council asked for anyway, to wondering whether you might knock them down, remove the facilities and build a housing estate?
I'm sorry,
I'm not sure how you get from the one to the other.
We didn't. The actual report that I wrote simply said that we engaged experts to come back to us and see what our options were. The other information that you've received, I believe, is conjecture. Because no decisions have been made, and it simply says.
My understanding is that the prospect of relocating the existing facilities and replacing them with housing on that site was expressly mentioned at the council meeting, which is what's caused the attendance this evening.
Yes, sure.
Am
Okay.
I
I
correct
can come
about
back on that if you will. So quite simply, there are lots of options here, aren't there? We can refurbish the clubs. We invest. We get the money together to invest in the clubs and leave everything as it is. That is certainly a possibility. We can consider possible relocation. Possible. Yeah. And that's something we've openly discussed. None of these options have been investigated. I'm a firm believer in gathering the information together at the first instance so that we can make proper weighted discussions. Unfortunately, the exempt paper and the discussions that were held in exempt session were publicised, and unfortunately, there was a slant which did not reflect the intention of the vote at the meeting.
I'm going to stop
Okay.
now because other people want to
So-
say, I might just come back.
Gentleman in the middle with the spectacles, thank you.
Ben Callahan. I've got
Sorry.
a few questions. One, I'd like to know what the cost of the feasibility study is, because that's fundamental to because we're paying for it. Two, I'd like to know why you waited until the chairman was away until you had to have this very, very important meeting, which affects so many hundreds of people, not just the local residents, but all the people who are involved in the tennis club and the bowls club. And it smacks of some self-interest here. It really does. I'm sorry if that's insulting, but that's what it feels like. The fact that you're saying you're the author of the feasibility study, which now turns out not to be true, it just sounds really very woolly. And I've got no faith from what I've heard so far in the judgments being made by this council. It's appalling, absolutely appalling.
Thank you for your deputation, sir. The gentleman immediately to your right, sir, I think was next up.
Yeah, very smart and probably pretty close. I too would like to know what the cost of this feasibility study will be, because surely that can be used for the proposed refurbishment.
Sounds like a plan.
We've got the gentleman at the front here.
My name's Peter Hanley, and I'm helping my friend
here who lives in Bowling Green Close. Yes, sorry, I don't know Councillor Ainsley's first name, but as an ex-submariner, communication, particularly with the RAF, is very, very important. And it strikes me, thanks to Martin Brooks, who gave me some information, we had a quick email exchange, I've only just seen the paper that was put through the door. My original question was, having heard about phase 1, can you show me the whole project? Because one bit of a phase of a project, I don't know what I'm dealing with. And apparently that's going to be minuted tomorrow. I've looked at the draft minutes, which are a blank. So that's a shame. I'm not going to have any information for tonight. So what's this meeting? What's the purpose of it? Listening to what's going on, it seems to me that we need to see the original brief that triggered off this feasibility study or whatever it is. The documents need to be public. People need to understand what on earth is going on, what the intention is. If there is no intention, as Councillor Ainsley says, to throw a spanner in the works, if you like, and have people worrying about housing development, such as the people that go, let's have it clear. If we can have that, Mr. Chairman, very, very clear, because everybody is upset. The bowling club, quite right, I'm a croquet player, but I had a quick look at the law and it looks fantastic. And I couldn't imagine where they would get relocated. They're right in the middle of the town. People will have built up decades of relationships and travel routes. To throw that all up in the air seems absolutely crap without a solid, good reason, which goes for a proper cost benefit. Argument. So lots of things can be easily sorted. If there is no intention, please tell the town, where Oakham Town Council is what I would ask as soon as possible, please.
What I can absolutely say, again, in my own capacity, very much unilateral at the moment up here, I would suggest that there's clearly such strength of feeling here that we will have a very robust public consultation phase to discuss this at length and gather a great array of the viewpoints. It feels very much like there's a groundswell in one direction, and certainly the objective of this council is not to misrepresent the wishes of its voting populace. So absolutely, I think it's appropriate that we engage with all interested parties throughout any further dealings on this.
Sorry, as a follow-up, could we have the information accessible? I'm very grateful to Martin Brooks, but when I look where it comes off a Blogspot, which to me is private communication. I'm not aware of there being a website for Oakham Town Council. It seems to be something called Local Democratic Report. It seems a bit difficult to get at the information of the Town Council business.
There is our webpage. If you do search for Oakham Town Council, it will bring up. You can see all the minutes of the meetings and how everything was voted for.
And this material will be there.
This material will be there, as will the recording for further.
I just want to reinforce that it's obviously coming. Most of the people in this room come to this late on the basis that a decision has been made to proceed with phase 1 of something that we have no idea what is phase 1 of. But now I learned for the first time that as far as September last year, people were undertaking studies which have ended up where we are now. I have no idea what they've done, and I agree with this chap. We need to go right back to first principles to understand what caused the initial studies to be undertaken, what the terms of reference for those studies were, and how they somehow have morphed from how do we fix the facilities to how do we knock them down, put them somewhere else and build a housing estate.
So to partially answer your first element of the question there, essentially the dilapidation study as it was back in 2019, I think it was.
2019.
Sorry.
Sorry. Did you say the dilapidations finished in
Oh, right.
2019?
The last condition assessment, I won't say dilapidation, the last condition assessment was done as part of...
7 years ago?
No,
sorry.
2025.
Right.
Thank you. Was essentially part of good husbandry to ensure that the assets that we have essentially a responsibility for are either kept in good order, or at least we know at what stage they are, so that potentially we can engage with stakeholders to then do exactly this,
I
decide,
thought the
make
clubs were
decisions.
responsible for the upkeep of the facilities, not the council.
Yes.
That's what I read in this
As
piece of
part,
paper that was sent around by Councillor Brooks.
Is that study available to read?
the
The
Yes, I believe that.
£150,000 needs spending.
I'm sure that it is, and we can publish that on the website.
Yes, please, yeah.
Yeah, sure. It's not in the interest of the council to hide anything from anyone here, guys. So I appreciate that it often appears that the council is opaque in its goings, but if you do, I wouldn't disagree with that. But please do familiarise yourselves with the website. So have a look on there. Everything that we ever discuss is published, and everything that we do in the chamber here is recorded. So it's all there for you guys to access. I realise that I think it's not necessarily forced into the public domain, but please, it is there to be seen. You so very patiently
I'm
waiting.
very patient. I'll stand up as well, purely because I'm the chair of Oakham Tennis Club. So my learn is chair of the Bowls Club. I feel I need to emulate what you've done. My name's Ed Carlisle. I didn't prepare a speech, but I will certainly ride in your coattails. But there's a number of things that I think are very important that we share. And I think the first one is that we had our annual general meeting a couple of weeks ago, which was very well attended. And I think the feeling from the club there was how well it's all going, and the way forward is very, very positive. We have something like 300 members. We have disability tennis. I did a club survey shortly after being elected as chair, and we had quite a good response to use Microsoft Forms. We had 80% of the membership saying that the figures that people are paid represented either good or excellent value for money. So if you think that in this cost of living crisis, where people are finding life very, very difficult, the fact they can go and play tennis for a very small amount of money each week, taking into account then the benefits that provides in terms of fresh air, exercise, mental well-being, all the things that can then be saved in terms of the NHS, local services, all of those sorts of things. That is something that we can't simply push aside. I think as well, there are some, we talked about misinformation. I think one very important point that came in the article the other day was it said about the state of the tennis club. Now, yes, it's nowhere near as nice as the Bowls Club. However, myself and my predecessors as chairs over a period of time have tried to build up a relationship with the council, because obviously we need to make sure that we are sharing or get permission for those changes to be made. In my time, and I'm an ex-head teacher, so I'm pretty persistent in terms of contacting people, I've had to battle time after time after time to get any meetings set up. Fortunately, we are now in a position where we have got a very good working relationship, where we have talked about, irrespective, in contrast to what was said in the article about us coming for taxpayers' money for repairs, in actual fact, for our own funding and for our own doggedness in applying for money from external sources, we would be able to hopefully fund a lot of those changes ourselves. It's also worth noting that on the report itself, the condition survey, we have some, concerns about the understanding of the makeup of the building and whether that's actually accurate. And it also ignores the fact that had we had a more prompt response from the council in the first place, we wouldn't be therefore in a position where we weren't able to make those changes. So the building would actually be in a far better position. So I think it's a bit rich for the feasibility survey to indicate that the tennis club is in a state of neglect or disrepair, as the word said in the article, when in actual fact there's been willingness from the tennis club going back 3 or 4 years to address those, get those changes made, and we simply get a water cycle. My mouth is going very dry, so I do apologise. What I would just also add is that we have a huge upswell in terms of what we would like to achieve for the tennis club, working alongside the Bowls Club. In the survey that I put forward, we put lots of different options for the locations, working with the bowls club, updating everything. It came out staying where we are. If it ain't broke, why fix it? That's the most important thing that came across. But what I would also like to know is the original covenant that gave the land. Where is that? If that says it is for recreational use, that has to be kept, surely. If it is overturned, there has to be a very good legal reason for that to be done. What is the timeline for the changes? So if the feasibility study says that, what would happen? But also, if it did change, we would have to be very clear that what was being given to us as a replacement was better than what we already have, and also, secondly, already up and running before anything else happened. Otherwise, as a council, you'd be very clearly not providing what's for England, what you as council should be providing. So I think there's a huge amount of information that needs to be provided before we can even think about moving any further forward. Thank you very much.
So just to come briefly back on that, and at the risk of repeating myself, I don't think it's in the council's interest to be curtailing any sporting activities, and I certainly don't think that was the intention of any paper that was put forward. As I said, I wasn't there to vote on it, but I think that this information was probably released into the public domain well ahead of time, and I'm not saying that is an excuse per se, but there was clearly no intention from the council to move ahead with anything without robust public consultation. It's not in the council's interest to upset people and to act against the wishes of the populace.
I have just one final question, probably to the gentleman at that. This feasibility study, is it going to take into consideration people that are using 300 members? I'm sorry, I can't remember how many.
Just over 100.
So 500 people that are using these facilities, and the health, as you said, the impact, the knock-on impact this has for Rutland, their mental well-being. I am astonished that there's a feasibility going ahead. I'm absolutely blown away. And is that actually being assessed, or is it just houses?
I'm going to defer to Councillor Ainsley, who looks like he wants to answer that directly.
Yeah, I just want to make a small correction to what I said earlier. I misspoke. Nothing has been predetermined. I think that's important to note, that the feasibility study is open, and we're going to get advice, and nothing is predetermined. As regards the value of the two clubs, they're immeasurable.
Okay.
And there is no predetermination about what to do. However, when faced with a large potential bill for refurbishment, it makes absolute sense to gather the information together, have the public consultations, and determine what we can do. So nothing has been predetermined. I want to stress that absolutely.
How much is this feasibility study costing?
It's. Am I at liberty to say? Well, the feasibility study, we haven't yet approached a series of contractors or a contract. We've set aside a budget, and the majority of that budget is coming from the community infrastructure levy, is it, or is it UKSP? If I can't remember.
I think they're only talking.
Oh, sorry. Well, I'm coming to that. I will answer the question.
40,000.
No. We have set aside a budget of £10,000 from
Be
the
honest.
just to hear me out, and then I'll get your answer. UKSPF, which is the UK Special Provident Fund, which is not a burden on taxpayers. That's something that comes down from the central government and is organised by RCC. And we're taking £15,000 from our reserves to conduct the feasibility study, and that is a total of that's the budget. We haven't yet gone out to look for tenders.
I still am confused. And I know that you're obviously a very intelligent man. You strategize all of this out. If there is no intention what is the point? Why
Yeah.
wouldn't
Yeah.
I can only repeat myself. The point was simply that we're faced with a potentially,
Why wouldn't we, as Rutlanders, why wouldn't we value people's health, well-being and community spirit that these places hold within Rutland to actually fundraise taxpayers' money? I'm sure you could go around most of the houses in Rutland and say, would you want to give money towards the tennis club, the cricket club, the bowls club, because of all of these wonderful benefits to our community? And everybody would say yes. Yet you have the biggest group, the biggest amount of people in this room that is fighting the feasibility study that has no intention. It's ludicrous.
no, can I just very quickly, and then I'll sit down. Quite simply, yes, of course. The value to the community, the value for health, all the things that you've mentioned are extremely important and are a part of the feasibility, isn't it? Of saying, what can we do? We have a big bill or potentially a large bill. Do we sit and wait for that to materialise and then, I don't know what we do. If we go forward, consult, recognise the benefits of the clubs that as they already exist, the decision, because there's no predetermination here, the decision could easily be, we will get some money together to refurbish the buildings as they currently are and leave everything alone. That's absolutely, because there is no predetermination.
Could I, sorry, I know that we're doing a lot
Who
of
is the
dark.
big bill from? The bowling club? Have they given you a big bill?
This has all stemmed from the surveyor's report that came to us in September, I think, when they finally arrived, wasn't that right?
The gentleman that's been waiting patiently at the very back.
Yeah, very frank. So I'm a member of the tennis club and I live opposite the bowling club. So I'm somewhat well versed in both clubs, and I see the bowling club is immaculate. The tennis club is well attended. So both are clearly of benefit to the town. You keep going on about this potential large bill. It seems to me that the council have been somewhat neglectful in their dealings with both clubs. We've heard from the tennis club chairman that they've struggled to get meetings with you regarding maintenance, ongoing repairs. So you keep going on about this large figure. I think you mentioned earlier, £150,000. Well, that clearly is nonsense, because if you've engaged with the clubs over the years and months preceding, I think you realise that figure is a lot less.
Those figures come straight from the surveyor's report, that's all I can say.
And they're only a recommendation, they're not actually taken into account.
Absolutely.
Any of the work that we can do, so you're basing a feasibility study on a recommendation that may not even be correct.
You've just said those
Why
figures
feasibility study?
are fairly recent. But we have literally just heard that you've not engaged with the club.
I think that
So if the two parties actually did discuss that figure that your consultants came up with.
I certainly have a feeling that post this meeting that there will likely be a robust conversation with both parties to discuss this further. Clearly, there's been a misinterpretation of the views of the council, which by no means are to remove a service from the public. So I think that the terms of conversation need to be defined, and certainly I'll be approaching the clerk in the office to perhaps pull together a more collaborative conversation with both parties, so that there is no misinterpretation of anything.
I'm still hung up on what we're doing.
Can I just take a question? Sorry,
Yes,
there's a few.
Thank you,
sir.
Paul Morant.
Sorry, could you repeat that?
Paul Morant.
Thank you.
Open Bowling Club. I've got a number of questions I want to raise, but I want to throw some answers out first. But on your website, the feasibility study is going to cost at least £40,000. In the minutes from the meeting held on the 29th of April.
I don't think
The cost of-
is aware that confidential minutes have been published on our website. That's why I went public, because the clubs have been notified and the minutes were published. And I've not divulged anything about phase two. So when he says people are being misled and information that's been given out, I get fed up with being told every time that people are being misled. I told the community that this council made a decision for a feasibility study, nothing else.
Thank
And
you.
the comment about the housing.
Thank
came
you,
from
thank you,
Councillor
Mr. Brooks.
Ainsley,
Thank
and
you.
that's probably the only.
Councillor Brooks, we've got a
Can I
gentleman.
finish?
No, you may not. This gentleman's making a deputation. You may wait your turn, sir. Thank you.
I'm sorry, but I just.
No, that'll do. Thank you.
But I keep hearing.
Carry on, sir. Thank you.
The report that was done by the surveyor on the Bowls Club identified three areas that needed attention over the next 30 years. Not immediately, 30 years.
Brilliant.
One was the roof. It's a felt roof, and we all know felt roofing doesn't last indefinitely. But we repair that as we go along, and one day it may well need the whole building refelting, which we would probably come to the council and ask for some assistance in the cost of it. Secondly, it's a lack of lagging in the roof space, and we have got plans to lag that eventually, but it's a very congested roof space, not much room to work, and without the agreement of a new lease or the signing of a new lease, we don't want to spend money if we're not going to get that lease. And the third point that was raised in the survey was there is some asbestos in the ceiling in a small section of it, and it's advised that that be removed at some time. Now, as a council, you did an asbestos survey many years ago, which identifies it, but you've chosen not to do anything with it. So that just clears those points up. You say there's no intention to build housing on the land.
There's no predetermination.
To build a new tennis club and a new bowls club, well, buy the land, everything, we're probably looking at £1.5 million. How would your council raise that without selling it for development, the existing land? You wouldn't. So, just clear those points up. I now have a few other things. On the agenda for the 29th of April, the item we're referring to didn't appear on it. There is now an agenda on the website which shows that item and an item for the Princess Avenue building on the agenda. So the agenda has been changed, which gives me the impression that if we knew about the meeting on the 29th, we could have come and talked about it, but we were kept in the dark. And it was kept in the dark because it was dealt with privately. The video recording of the meeting stopped, so it was never visible.
That I can answer.
But now the agenda is on there with those items on it, which gives me the impression that, well, why didn't the members of the public come to that meeting? That's that bit sorted. I've gone through. My next one, which is somebody raised already, why is council information, which was done in private, plastered across Facebook? I don't know. I don't understand. But that's the only way we found out about the fact that this was happening. Now, I'd like to go to, I just cannot believe that you're going to relocate the bowls club, which would cost £30,000-40,000 to put right. Tennis club, which isn't in such good condition, and maybe they've outgrown it a bit, or maybe it's not suitable for the purpose they want now. But to change that, knock that down, they could share our clubhouse for a year, while they had a new one built on the site, and that may cost £150,000. So we're less than £200,000. If you're going to relocate, it's £1.5 million. My feeling is, you want to move us out, put us somewhere else, raise enough money so you can bail out Victoria Hall as well. Well, that's my opinion over it. But if it is going to be for housing, I'd just like to come to the Oakham and Barleythorpe neighbourhood plan, which obviously as councillors you know all about, because it's on your website. Policy 1, development proposals for residential development will be supported where they will not, individually or cumulatively, with other permitted developments, have an unacceptable impact on local amenity, community facilities, education, health, recreation, leisure, cultural, etc. And where practicable will positively contribute to an improvement of such amenities and community facilities. Well, if you build houses there, you're going against that. Also, proposals for residential developments of 10 or more dwellings will not be supported outside sites allocated in the Rutland local plan. I assume you would look to build more houses than 10 on that site. Now, policy 9, green infrastructure and recreational facilities. Development proposals that will result in an unacceptable impact on the purpose or function of existing green infrastructure and outdoor or indoor sport, recreation and gathering facilities will not be supported unless they demonstrate there is no longer a need for the existing infrastructure or facility, which it appears there is obviously a big need for it, and or that the site is no longer appropriate or viable for such use. Well, it seems viable and appropriate to me, as does most people here, I believe. Or demonstrate the implementation of solutions intended to reinstate green infrastructure and facilities, purpose or function, to the previous quality and connectivity elsewhere in the site or in its close proximity. So again, if you choose to build houses there or sell the land for development, it would go against the Oakham and Barleythorpe neighbourhood plan. One thing left, I believe, and I'll shut up for a minute. As a former county and now an active local town councillor, Councillor Ainsley cannot guarantee to make everyone happy, but will always act in the best interests of the residents of Oakham and his ward. That's your bio on the council website.
I recognise it.
Well, I don't think, well, I think probably to start with, you're not making anybody happy. And I don't think it's in the best interests of the residents of Oakham.
Mr. Brooks.
Yeah, apologies for interrupting, but it's quite a frustrating
fine.
position to be in. The gentleman then mentioned about it being on Facebook. What I'd like to say is that none of my information went out until I think it was Friday evening after I found out that the tennis club and the bowls club had been notified, which then makes it not a confidential matter. I made it very clear when I spoke to residents, and this is what I hate. Everything I say gets put across as if I'm giving misinformation. I have not given residents any misinformation. I made it very clear verbally to people who have spoken to me in emails, in the letter I distributed. This council has not made any decision to go past phase 1. Now, I probably did breach confidentiality by revealing what Councillor Ainsley's desire is, and that's to sell it for housing. He sat here. And, you know, so I breached confidentiality on that part of the meeting, but I have not breached any other confidentiality. Gentleman at the front, had an email and he asked me, what is phase 2? Sorry, I can't tell you.
Why can't you tell us, Martin?
Because it's confidential.
Because we don't even know what it is.
Well, we do, because it was all in the papers and it comes to a huge more money.
Martin, you're assuming predetermination.
No, I'm not assuming, I'm just saying
enough.
phase 2, we can't tell the public,
We can't
but we
be,
know what it is, okay? So it's all based on phase 1, which we can tell the public, because we've minuted about it. We've minuted that phase 1, a feasibility study, which personally I find is just total nonsense. The money, £25,000 minimum for somebody to tell us that we could do something with it. You know, that's all I'm going to say. You know, I voted against it because we were only a very small group and the papers we had didn't really say a lot. I had to force with another councillor who's not here what the intention was, and that's why I breached confidentiality, because we both said, Councillor Ainsley, what's the end aim? And he said, development. And when I said to him, what do you mean development? He said, housing, and the council will make a few million. And that was it. And the goal is from, it is clear that the clubs will be located if it happens. But I don't believe it can happen. We can't even find land for a skate park in Oakham. So how are we going to find the land big enough for a tennis club and a bowls club and the parking? And so, sorry I go on, but I hate being told that I've given misinformation all the time by Councillor Ainsley when I haven't.
Thank you for your.
Everything I've given has been based on what is on our website minutes, and that is it. And I've made it very clear that this council has not voted to go past that. I'm quite flabbergasted that the two members supported it on the basis that we're going to spend 25,000 at least, when we don't even have a quote. Our standing orders say we should go out to tender, and we haven't done that. And it's just, it's a muddle. Sorry.
Thank you for your deputation. We're going to go there, then you, sir, and then back to the front.
Mr. Chairman, it's clear that this has been an appalling process. There's been lack of democracy, I believe, in this whole thing. I think that there has been a vast overstepping of authority. I'm absolutely appalled at the fact that this was all left until you weren't here, given how important it was for the vote to take place. I might be wrong, but I sense disquiet and dissatisfaction in you in this whole thing. And given that, I think the councillors involved need to take a long, hard look at themselves. And I think Councillor Ainsley should look to resign. I really do. I think he's behaved appallingly in this whole thing. And I don't think he should stand as a councillor in this town, because he's let us down and he's let the town down. That's how I feel.
Yeah.
Sorry.
As an account.
Sorry, one second, sir. Remind me of your name, sir.
Callahan.
Thank you very much, Ben.
As a former accountant.
And your name, sir?
Munir Haq. As a former accountant, one of the things that really appalls me, I hear that the worry is about a cost of £140,000. And to actually consider spending 25,000 or 40,000 in order to study how to solve a £140,000 problem is absolutely bizarre. That's the first point I made. The second point is how you do a feasibility study. In my experience, you first decide what is the problem you want to solve. And having decided that, the feasibility study examines alternatives on how to solve that problem. I don't know what the problem is that we were supposed to solve by doing this feasibility study. Was it to release land for housing, or was it to help the bowls club and the tennis club to rebuild their buildings? You know, the two are so entirely different that it makes absolutely no sense at all. So I've only come here to find out how on earth this town can sort out problems like that.
I think at this point that's quite a nice segue into saying that we do have some vacancies available for all of you clearly. All of you clearly very, very motivated people. As I've, again, I sound like a broken record, but it is not in our interest as a council to misrepresent the wishes of the population.
Can I ask a quick question as a councillor? The money that we've agreed on a casting vote the other day, is there any way we can stop that happening now? Because obviously the vote's gone ahead and the money's going to... Sorry.
Stolen your thunder, sir.
Sorry, I'm just interested to know.
I don't want that money.
Moratorium on it.
Seems that we might have to consider that as a course of action. And again, we do have a meeting again tomorrow, 6:30. Feel free to come along and be part of that as well. You know, the seats will barely be called when we'll be leaving today. So
Can I ask? Sorry.
I'm going to go to this gentleman first, sir.
With the strength of
Your name, sorry, before.
John Wilcock, you'll never spell it right. Another Scottish member of the Bowling Club. With the strength and feeling you've heard tonight, and the fact you say we need a robust conversation about this, it's only logical that the council does put a halt on their expenditure.
Yeah.
It would be ludicrous, from what you've heard tonight, to go ahead and potentially waste 25,000 plus. I mean, I spent 2 hours doing some quick sums, and I came up with 1.5 million will be what the land is worth, and 1.5 million will be probably relocation costs. Nil sum game.
Yes.
I'm not charging you 25,000 for that. You could have that as a free thing.
Thank you for your generous.
Just remember the first 3 letters of consultants.
Yeah.
They put the con in consultants.
Presently, because the next meeting is in a very short period of time, I'm not entirely sure that our rules permit this to be raised immediately, but certainly I think perhaps an extraordinary meeting might be in order. Which
could it be brought up as AOB at the meeting?
We don't have an AOB for because otherwise it drags things well into the night. So no, it typically will raise this as an agenda item to revisit this at an extraordinary meeting. I feel that we should probably do it as a single agenda item meeting because it's very likely we'll see you all again at that. But certainly I think that, given the strength of feeling quite obviously in the room tonight, that yes, we do need to raise this. Oh, absolutely. And I think that it's not so much about us thinking, madam, it's about representing you appropriately. So it's not for us to think, it's to represent your wishes. So
this is...
Can I go? You've had a bit of airtime. Yeah, I'll go to the gentleman at the back there. Oh, you, sir. Go ahead.
Naivety. I've never been to one of these proceedings before, but I thought it was important to show my face here. Lots of questions have been asked. When do we see the answers, and how do we access the answers from the council? Actual answers, because there's a lot of I don't know. We can do this. When will we actually get firm answers of whether this is going to be raised as an agenda on the agenda? All of the questions that have been asked, where do we access those? When should we expect them, and how do we expect them? And yes, could you educate me?
So this meeting is recorded in its entirety. Poor Melanie here has the unenviable task of transcribing and going through this meeting and disseminating the questions asked this evening, for which we will A, prepare the best answers that we can, and B, we will publish those presumably within the minutes, or at least at the next meeting, that we can actually address that.
Yeah, not in tomorrow.
No, definitely. We'll give you a fighting chance. Yeah.
But I think what Councillor Nixon says is that it will go to extraordinary meeting. So he said that, so that will happen
Okay.
as an agenda item. The extraordinary meeting will be advertised on the website.
Okay.
If you have any queries outside of this meeting, if you email enquiries, and then when I've done the minutes, I can email them out, but they will be put on the website as
So
well.
the answers to the questions will be put on the website.
Yes.
And outside of that, email inquiries and attend the extraordinarily
Yes.
super duper meeting for this thing. And everybody in here bring 3 more people.
Really,
Yes.
everyone is absolutely welcome. Obviously, we do have a bit of a space constraint here, but no, I absolutely support that. I think that if there is,
The tennis club, because they've got loads of space.
well, there you go. Yeah.
Some good parking.
There's lovely open spaces.
And if there is,
Community can use for this sort of thing.
if there is indeed a positive that has come from this, it is that at least everyone in this room has had a chance to engage with this particular part of local democratics. And I would genuinely encourage all of you to consider helping the council out so that potential faux pas like this aren't made, and that we don't misrepresent what you all want. We've got, sorry sir, yes, you were very gracious in your...
My name is Sinan Sunamahan, and I'm not a member of tennis club, neither a member of bowling club, but I live local. I received these 2 documents from you, from the council. One of them saying, Oakham is bidding for UK Town of Culture 2028. The other one says, we will demolish the tennis club and bowling and increase the housing. I don't think these 2 match. Second thing is, without reinforcing the infrastructure, increasing the number of housing, I don't think it's a good idea. We have to improve schools, parking places, etc. first, before increasing the number of housing. I have a friend living in Oakham. He's taking his son to Great Casterton because there is no place in schools in Oakham.
I would certainly be one of the first to support that. Yes, I do think that Oakham has grown quite considerably in, well, certainly in my lifetime. I've been here for 39 years. And yes, I think that we could benefit from some more infrastructure. If any of you leave today's meeting with any creative thoughts on how we as a community can raise funds outside of the usual channels that a town council can operate within, please feel free to submit those and we will look to support them. It's what we're here for. Madam.
Can I, Judy Gillett, can I raise a totally different question now?
Please.
In your introduction and the minutes from last year, you talked about the FSO coming to Oakham. This morning, the council have decided not to go ahead with the acquisition of the cabinet of the council, county councillor, not going ahead with the PSO coming to Oakham. Can the town do something to avoid that happening, to make it, because I think it's the most important thing for Rutland and for Oakham to have that sort of thing here. I have a vested interest in that. I'm secretary of the Friends of the Museum, so just as a question, if anybody has any thoughts about how we can progress the fact of the PSO staying in Rutland in some way.
Yes, thank you. And you've quite nicely highlighted that my speech was written last night, not this morning first thing. So thank you ever so much. I would assume it's going to be down to a pounds and pence kind of exercise. So
I think so.
my argument would be absolutely, let's do it. But as a community, not just a body of the 8 or so councillors that sit here, yes, let's work together as friends of the museum. Please come to us with an idea that we can broadcast far and wide so that we can start fundraising to do these sorts of things.
Right.
Absolutely. Thank you.
We've got 40,000 saved from the
Go ahead.
I
sorry, Pat, I was going to say it's actually let's use the feasibility money on the Dixie sort.
So thank you very much, Pat.
Well, it is quite a lot.
I'll go to Mr. Brooks, who's had his hand up there quite patiently.
Just one last thing on the Vale, I think that's what we call it, because the main road is the Vale. Some people won't be aware. Councillor Ainsley said that we set a budget. We didn't set a budget. The minutes say quite clearly that they agreed to spend that money. I don't believe that due process has been followed. We haven't tendered, and I can't give the other figure because that hasn't been published, but recently it says 25,000 up to for the feasibility study. So on the 20th, we have an internal audit, and one of my aims is that we're going to ask the internal auditor if due process was actually carried out and whether that vote that the councillors took is actually legal, because if it is a budget, it's not what the minutes are saying. The minutes very clearly say, the draft minutes, that we've agreed to spend £25,000 on phase 1. But carefully reading all the documentation, it suggests to me that it might cost more phase 1. So that's what I want the auditor to look at, because an auditor doesn't just look at the money, it looks at our processes. And the other thing is that we have a standing order that says if the money to be spent is above so much, we have to go out to tender. Now, I have done some research, and as Mr. Ainsley told us, this is a very specialist field, a consultant, and we could bypass that, but I don't believe we can, because I Googled 3 companies who could do the same work within about 10 seconds or probably less than that, on Google. So that's what I want to bring up with you, which I will bring up with you. So there might be some change, because if we haven't followed the correct process, then we need to revisit it.
Well,
because we don't have a tender. They've agreed to spend money on something that we don't even, you've heard it tonight, we haven't got a quotation, should I say.
Well, it's certainly something that we are that we will revisit again, and you're obviously in your capacity as a councillor, you're more than welcome to talk to the internal auditor at the due time. But through the extraordinary meeting, I think we're very much going to backtrack and have a look at exactly what has
revoked standing orders, because we have a standing order that says that we can't revisit something within 6 months, but you have the powers to revoke that.
Yeah.
You can
it keeps revolving back to the same thing. There's talk of a feasibility study. The chap Mr. Huck said it perfectly. A feasibility study is to determine whether or not a proposed plan of action is viable. But you want to spend £25,000 of our money on a study into a proposal that none of us are allowed to know about. That is just not acceptable. You cannot spend our money pursuing something that you know what it is, but we don't know what it is.
And it very much seems that is absolutely not going to happen.
Yes, good. But we don't, even as councillors, we don't know what phase 3 is. That was the issue why I didn't vote.
Right.
Thank you. I'm Councillor John Harris. I only moved into the town a couple of years ago, and I was delighted to be invited and was co-opted onto the council. It's extremely enjoyable, extremely frustrating at times, and I've heard a lot of eloquent people here this evening. Now, if you have a few hours to spare, we only meet once a month for 2 hours. We do get a lot of emails in the intervening months, but I encourage you, come along tomorrow and see what it's about. You can come as guests, sit at the back, you don't have to participate. If you think you could make a contribution, please put yourselves forward.
Go ahead, sir.
Thank you. I'd just like to thank the council for the music they're providing this summer. It is most appreciated. Thank you. One thing I raised a couple of years ago, you never have a collection.
Yeah.
You have a charity, presumably,
No, we've not had one this year.
Well, you should have a charity and collect every week or.
Thank you for the recommendation. Any more for any more? No. Okay. Well, speak now or forever hold your peace, everybody. Well, I would like to say thank you very much for your attendance this evening. It's clear that democracy is alive, well and working in our rural Iddle. And just to echo Councillor Harris's suggestions, please do come and continue to be a part of this. It's a very valuable process, and we certainly thank you for bringing up and raising these concerns tonight. So thank you. I'm absolutely certain that in very short order, certainly the chairs of the bowls and tennis clubs will be contacted for further comment and communication. So thanks again for your strength of deputations tonight, everybody. It's appreciated. So, it's now 18. Thank you. 18 minutes past, and I'll bring this meeting to a close. Thank you very much, everyone.
Pardon?